What a find!
Have I been summoned merely to push this creature to death? A mortal who still shows loyalty to the Queen that exiled him to the abyss? Oh yes, Galfrey guards her glory with the jealousy of a lioness. But no, this creature proudly wears the knife stuck in his back like a badge of honor. Or is the betrayal weighing you down after all? Did you come here looking for a new master? One who can help you seek revenge? Why do you care about his fate? He was merely your overseer. Heaven sent him to watch over you. His only purpose was to remind you of your mission and to destroy you should you stray from the path. You shouldn't worry about him. He is just Iomede's pawn, and she did not think twice about sacrificing him. The foolish angel thought he would be forgiven for leaving Regathiel and joining Iomede, but heaven never rewards traitors with its trust. I have countless slaves and numerous offspring. When one of them disappoints me, I simply get rid of them. To me, you are nothing more than mayflies. Your lives are so brief, it is as if you are already dead. Even if we pretend for a moment that you have a chance of winning, have you considered what reward awaits you? Your queen knows that you have surpassed her. Your success is why Galfrey exiled you here. How will she reward you for the death of a demon lord? Will she honor you by personally slitting your throat? Sadly, we will never know the answer, because you have no chance of winning. Which of my enemies is responsible for this trap? Who has put you up to this, you pathetic insect? Such power must have a source. You are such a curious insect. I must see what is inside you.
Stand aside, mortal. The right to rip out his heart belongs to me alone.
Nocticula, Lady in Shadow, once again, I offer you an alliance. A great alliance.
I've told you before, and I'll tell you again. The answer is no. It has been a long time since I last killed the Demon Lord. It is good to see that I remain unsurpassed in my craft. You have been absent for too long. You are the chosen instrument of my will, but for months there was no word from you, and no one in the Midnight Isles knew where you were. I watched you from afar, unseen, but then you also managed to hide yourself from my gaze. If it hadn't been for Lady Vorlesh, I would have thought you dead long ago. She kept reassuring me that you were alive, and then I felt your blood in my realm again, and I heard the sound of Baphomet's hooves as he walked through my land. That is when I realized two things. First, this was my chance to annoy the old goat, and second, betting on you was the right choice. Oh no, you are the hero. I simply put the finishing touches on the work of art you created. I did not want to enter into a difficult, exhausting war against Baphomet when he was at full strength. But massacring his minions when they are helpless and success is guaranteed? Well, that is a different matter entirely. Thanks to recent events, the slaughter can finally begin. Baphomet is frightened. He will not leave his abode for at least a year, because if he dies again within that time, his death will be final. This gives me an overwhelming advantage. My black bolts gave him a kiss he will not soon forget, and the memory of their touch will cool his fervor. 2 armies of demons will meet in the coming battle, and one of them will be led by its mistress in all her glory. The other one, however, will be cut off at the head and left without the leadership of its lord. In a year's time, I will have undermined Baphomet's forces and deprived him of his troops and allies. By the time he finally feels invincible again, it will be too late. And instead of crushing my servants and destroying my islands, he will be forced to bargain for his life. As you can see, I won this war before it started, and it's all thanks to you. No. Any demon lord that is killed will return to their abyssal realm, where they will be reincarnated. Their body will be unharmed, but the demon lord will be vulnerable for an entire year. If they are killed again during that time, they will be drawn into the Rift of Repose forever. However, if I kill them, they will become an island in my realm. Therefore, nothing will induce Baphomet to leave his labyrinth during the next year. Perhaps it felt that way, but believe it or not, Alishanira has already forgotten the hot-headed Galarian who caused mayhem throughout the city. You may have ended up in some sort of temporal anomaly. These sometimes occur in the Abyss. Or perhaps someone arranged this anomaly for you. If that is the case, you are lucky to have escaped from it so quickly. You could have been gone for several centuries. Of course it has. Everything went according to plan. Your fight with the Demon Lord sapped much of your strength, and you were forced to rely on the power that you were given by Lady Vorlesh. You reached for it instinctively, without even realizing what you were doing. Every Demon Lord needs a weapon. Someone who will be an instrument of their will. Baphomet chose Hepzamira, and I chose you. I'm glad I picked the superior weapon. You proved yourself stronger than your counterpart, and laid bare the cowardice of my enemy. I, the Lady of the Midnight Isles, will give you the honor and glory that such a deed deserves. With a single blow, you have begun the great war between Nocticula and Baphomet. And I will reward you for this achievement. Your queen will reward you for this deed, but she cannot match the generosity of the Lady in Shadow. Accept my profane gift, and remember the moment you triumphed. The moment Nocticula herself expressed her gratitude and respect for you. Every succubus can bestow her dark patronage upon whomever she likes. My magic will enter your being and enhance your already exceptional abilities. It will also allow me to watch over you and, if you are in mortal peril, help you. It will not make me your guardian demon, but you can expect to receive some aid from me. Furthermore, there is one more aspect to a profane gift. It allows the succubus to affect the mind of whoever is under her protection. You have proven to be trustworthy, and so I will not exploit this by invading your thoughts. Others, however, will not be so kind to you. If a powerful demoness charms you with her magic and grants you her profane gift, you will become her toy. A mortal can only have the patronage of one succubus, and I would rather give you mine than leave your enemies a chance to cause you harm. Conquest is your next step. The world wound can only be closed where it was opened, in the Threshold Fortress. Go back to Galarian, gather an army, and bring the full force of your power down upon your enemies. Baphomet will wish to recall his soldiers as soon as possible, in order to repel my attack. You will only have to deal with Discari's servants. When you get to the Threshold, stand on the edge of the rift that connects your plane and the Abyss, and we will execute our plan. I will stop him. Baphomet's servants will be too frightened to go to the place where their master was killed. And whoever tries to mine my crystals will taste my wrath. You have fulfilled the mission for which you came, Galarian Crusader. The mining of Nahindrian crystals has ceased, and Baphomet and Discari will no longer have mythic demons under their control. I will send my servants to destroy the network of passages they have carved throughout my islands. I will destroy all their portals, including the one that brought you to Alashanira. It is clear that Queen Galfrey lacks your talent as a strategist. In your absence, she has made several mistakes that have brought Mendev's crusaders to the brink of destruction. She is a skilled warrior, and a good leader, but that is not enough. It never has been when it comes to dealing with the world wound. You were the one who tipped the scales toward a victory for Mendev. But you'll soon find out everything for yourself. I won't spoil the surprise. The same way you arrived, through the Nexus. The rift that led you into the Abyss is open. Of course, the Queen tried to close up every opening within the Midnight Fane, but I'll let you in on a secret. She didn't close all of them. If you look hard enough, you'll find the way back. A wise decision. Every hour of delay is paid dearly in the blood of your soldiers, and you will need them to retake the Threshold.
The commander found himself in a Lashanira, the very heart of enemy territory. Much to his credit, he managed not only to pique the interest of the Lady in Shadow, but to defeat Baphomet himself. But after these adventures, does he still remember Galarian and wonder about its fate?
Knight Commander, at last we meet. And I greet you, Knight Commander. I suppose you're asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone. Goodness and the light of hope are not unknown to you, but you mix them with recklessness. And the power that feeds this recklessness is dangerous. I have seen what happened here in Dresden. Despite everything that you have endured, despite the changes you underwent in the Abyss, you relied on your humanity, and you won without losing it. I salute you. I wish to stop the forces of evil and defend Golarion, both from Daskari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a hero who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that is caught in a web of demonic deceit and villainy. I have come to help you. In that moment, when my poor Herald was being torn apart by monsters, he found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Alushanira, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Golarion. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
I did not come here to fight.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
The two of us will be more than enough. Listen to what I have to tell you. If she wishes to be present for this conversation, so much the better. Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the World Wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomade? Righteous wrath? Or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Silence. It's impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon, which has made so many victories possible, and only because he received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have? Save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that he is bound to the World Wound, that he is slowly dying because of its influence, and that he is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told him that closing the wound won't save him from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound. The one who closes the world wound will die along with it.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Illusionera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Galarian and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
It is true. Now do you see the perils of accepting a demonic gift? No matter how much power the Abyss gives you, that power will always be tainted by lies and misfortune. This is the justice I promised you. The right to know the whole truth, and not to be a plaything in the hands of abyssal spawn.
Trying, you say? I successfully hid the truth from you for as long as I deemed necessary. Are you expecting me to explain myself? My goal is to close the world wound, not to grant you a happily ever after.
You will live.
You will lose everything that makes life worth living.
You will spoil a brilliant endeavor and destroy the lives of thousands of mortals who will be devoured by the legions of demons coming from the Abyss. Aside from that, you won't do anything extraordinary at all. Oh, how noble! For a brief moment, I even felt some regret that we demons are incapable of such lovely things. You see now, Inheritor? My little protege has more nobility in him than you expected. Shame on you.
This nobility is exactly why I came here. To help the Knight Commander learn the truth, and to show him that he has been used. Besides, I do not believe that you have been acting for selfless reasons, Lady in Shadow. Honesty and nobility have never counted among your virtues. You own the main source of Nahindrian crystals, and your servant Arilu has learned how to break the laws of the universe with their help. Can it be that the ruler of darkness and mistress of assassins has not conceived a way to use this formidable gift for her own benefit?
Accusations, suspicions, all completely hollow, just like your bright-eyed pretty little head. It's a pity you inherited Eridan's sword, but not his sharp mind. I have but one goal now. To stop the armies of that lecherous billygoat and that gluttonous bug from strutting around my domain as if it were their own. I don't give a fig whether it will help mortals or hurt them. If the enemy of your enemy makes you a mutually beneficial proposition, you would have to be a complete idiot to say no.
Arilu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads. Yes, The power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait. Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for. That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has 2 keys.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Arilu, my love, come over here. Wait! I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Arilu opened the world wound, and Arilu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Yes, Arilu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Arilu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, you must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
Ask, and you shall have your answers. My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords. Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered, and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them. He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth. For the noblest of reasons, of course.
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Dresden. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. for doing so would start an interplanar war. Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the abyss. At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years. So even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds. I could, but then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive. As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself. The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the World Wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival. It is time to make your decision then.
If you have questions, ask away. Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Aurilu, of course. Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Aurilu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Aurilu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely. You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Aurilo slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound. Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go. Now, let's think. She's hidden in the Abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Aurilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that. If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the World Wound. Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Aurilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And no offense, but you're no match for any deity. Very well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
Perhaps your power came from the Abyss, but your beautiful soul has cleansed it of all evil. Don't reject this power, for you have already proved that you are worthy of it.
I enjoy feeling mythic power within me, but my life was perfectly fine before it. So it is up to you to decide.
Being around you is so much fun. The whole world is ablaze. War is raging, but even those who are on the verge of dying smile when they see you. This power is good. Perhaps it was evil before, but you have made it good. Don't throw it away.
As a cave monster who's going to grow old and die in about 10 years' time, I can tell you this. There's no power in the world that's worth selling yourself out to the Abyss for. Being the invincible companion of the magical commander was fun and all, but we don't need it. It doesn't really matter how much magic they've heaped on you. You're the commander because you have the heart and mind of a true commander. Screw your power. Don't betray yourself. That way, we'll win.
It's not my place to gainsay the will of my goddess, but the thing is, I can sense evil. And I don't sense it in your power at all. I just don't. Whatever those horned monsters had planned for you, you definitely aren't playing by their rules.
You gave hope to the Crusaders in their darkest hour, even when all seemed lost and only despair and death lay ahead. With these powers, you have saved countless lives, and you will save more. Of course you must keep them.
My brother is wise. Listen to his advice.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen. As for your question, by all means, tell her to go to the Abyss. The power is yours, and yours alone.
I hate it when they corner you and demand answers out of you. But fine, I'll tell you what I think. With you, I've always had my freedom, Chief, so I'll speak freely. Be who you are and don't count on gifts from nobody. You gave me the same advice back in Alashanira, remember? And I've never regretted following it. Maybe you won't have the powers you had before, but do you really need somebody's permission to do what you want to do? That's what it's all about.
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Arilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
I am waiting for your answer. I hope you will choose wisely.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.